won the cup again in the USA and in Hong Kong to move to the top of the table for the first time this season. So it's the aspiring world champions Samoa against the reigning world champions South Africa, led by that man Zwanndile Stick, recalled by Paul True along with Fabian Juries and Neil Powell. And that certainly brought some stability to the South African side, and they got their first final of the season in London last weekend, where they lost to a young, confident Australian seven. The referee from Ireland, but now being employed by the English Rugby Union, is Mr. JP Doyle, a former scrum half for Terranua College in Dublin, and he'll have his work cut out with so much at stake in this, then the first of the Cup quarterfinals. Samoa, kick-off. Taken on the 10-metre line. It's going to be a huge, almighty contest for possession. And first blood then to South Africa. Zwanndile Stick considers his options. From the Natal Sharks, South Africa Sevens Player of the Year some 3 years ago. And he and Neil Powell are back in the team, but to the likes of Sampi Maastricht and Branko Dupree, who certainly created an impression on the Sevens circuit this year, while they're helping the under-20, the South African under-20 team as they head out to Argentina for the Junior World Championships. And already Paul True building up towards the Olympic Games in 2016. Chris Dry, wearing 9 for South Africa, wins the lineup. That's Chase Mienaar wearing 2, South Africa, to Zwanndile Stick, the creative Zwanndile Stick. Into the Samoan 22 goes Rhino Benjamin. He's done well. Stick to Africa, back to strength.
Any knock on there?
No knock on, says JP Doyle. Neil Powell did well. But Samoa, for the first time, then have possession inside their own 22. They don't mind running it from under their own post, but Pessamino opts for the kick downfield to ease the pressure on the Samoan try line. Michele Pessamino, 50 tries to his name this season, coming into the Edinburgh tournament. Scored 2 against Kenya yesterday morning. That takes him to within 3 of 150 career tries. So South Africa just wiping the ball. Dry again, climbs high, down to Africa. Mjiment, big hit coming in, and the South Africans can expect a few of those, and Samoa have done well to win the turnover ball. Alafoti, Fawasi-Liva, and suddenly it's out with Michele Pessamino into the South African half, looking to turn Mjiment inside and out, and then offloading to the big, strong Alafoti Fawasi-Liva, who certainly made his presence felt on the circuit this season. Ualemai to Lolalui, the captain, Aifa Ayono, former Samoan under-20 captain. Tremendous experience in this Samoan side, and none more so than with Walemai. They're wearing 6. The former captain, Sevens most capped player, Stephen Betham, is the new coach of Samoa this season. And the defeat by Argentina last evening by 31 points to 10 certainly sent shockwaves around Murrayfield. Samoa looking for their first ever IRB Sevens World Series Championship. So approaching midway through the first half, still no score. Lolalui tries to get away from South Africa. He's made the ball available. Pessamino, the first receiver. Walemai, a change of direction. This could be good. Ayono looking for the strong man. Rupena Lavasa cuts back inside. It's a first score in the Cup quarter-final. The patient build-up, the change of direction, and Rupena Lavasa gets Samoa onto the score sheet. So simple conversion for Lola Louis from in front of the posts. And 5 becomes 7. It was this change of direction, this sudden change of direction, making the ball do the work. And Rupena Lavasa still had some work to do though. Cut back inside between MJ Mentz and Chase Mianar, and the school teacher from the Wayele club in Apia gets a crucial score for Samoa.
Go back, Samoa.
Taken in by Neil Powell. First appeared in the South African Sevens alongside coach Paul True way back in 2002. Mistake by South Africa. And it's a chance for Samoa. And South Africa under pressure, unenforced errors.
Crouch. Touch. Pause. Engage.
Ball spits out.
Back, Samoa.
Lola Louis has to release. Mai to Pessimino again in the position of first receiver. Lavasa being asked to do the running once more. Pessimino didn't knock it forward. Walamai, long pass finds Lola Louis. So simple. Could be a second try here. Alafoti, Farsi strides out. And Samoa looking good on the second morning here on the last day of the Murrayfield tournament. It's imperative that they get to the Cup semi-finals to keep the pressure on New Zealand. A long pass from Walemai. Lola Louis did the damage, stepping off his right foot. Good support from Alafoti Farsi. And that, I make it his 6th try this weekend in Murrayfield. Big, strong Alafoti Farsi, one of the 3 Samoan players, and that shows the superiority of Samoa this year in the running for the player of the year, along with England's Ben Gollings. Conversion was successful, and Samoa leads South Africa by 14 points to 0. South Africa, though, they won't roll over. This is MJ Mentz sprinting away to the Samoan 22. Back there covering is Michele Pessimino. The cutout by Adaltasi Tupau. Samoa breathe again. Pessimino. The long kick downfield. Cecil Africa has to track back. South Africa have to start all over again.
Wait.
Lola Louis in no real hurry as we approach half-time. Yeah, with 2 tries, 2 conversions to the good. And that'll do for the opening 7 minutes. So Samoa looking good at the break. 2 converted tries to 0, 14 points to 0. Samoa's lead over the reigning world champions, South Africa, the Cup quarterfinals. Wherever they go, Samoa have their supporters all around the world, and seen some delightful scenes in recent months in Las Vegas, in Adelaide, in Hong Kong as well. Samoan squad mobbed by their supporters as they won a cup trophy after cup trophy. South Africa to restart through Zwangile stick, trailing by 14 points to 0. The winners progress to the cup semi-finals, the losers to the plate semi-final, the second tier competition. South Africa reached the finals in London last weekend for the first time this season. In fact, their best efforts prior to London were a few plate finals where they lost to Australia on 3 occasions. The return of Jury's Stick and Powell certainly given the young South African side some much needed confidence. Oh, just a nudge forward, and Fausiliva is really annoyed with himself. Overran it slightly. It was very close, wasn't it? So South Africa looking to make a replacement here. On comes the dangerous Fabian Juries, wearing 7. Such a deceptive runner, very, very lightning quick. It's Neil Powell who departs. Former Springbok Sevens captain. Lena Benjamin in the middle of that front row.
Crouch, touch, pause, engage. You're finding inside.
JP Doyle not happy with the binding, he says.
Finding inside.
Samoa in no hurry whatsoever to take the kick. They're sitting on a healthy lead, 14 points to 0. South Africa need to get their hands on the ball. There's plenty of rugby left on this final day of competition in Murrayfield. But will Samoa be crowned world champions around 7 o'clock this evening? That is the question.
Yeah, you're fine.
Well, it's certainly their championship to lose as it stands at the moment, and it almost came to a sudden halt against Argentina last evening. Off his left foot, then that's Alatasi Tupau. Pessimino to Alafoti Fawasiliva to Simeka Mekele. There he is, Simeka Mekele. Remember the try he scored in Hong Kong, a crucial try in the final against New Zealand. And he was out on his feet at the end. This man scored 3 tries in the final. Mekele Pessimino. Samoa in the hunt again for a try that could clinch this quarter-final for them. They've secured possession. South Africa very close to being offside, Chase Mianar, but it's just nudged a tad forward, and Samoa in the ascendancy once again, then 5 meters out from the South African try line. Samoa controlling possession, and South Africa make yet another substitution. On comes Renfred Dazel. Of course, South Africa only have 10 men in the squad at the moment. An arm injury, what looked serious to Mbiozo. Looked to have dislocated his shoulder, but the news is that he's on the mend, and big Frankie Horn twisted his ankle, so he's out of the tournament. Penalty, Samoa. Lola Louise says slow it down, and we'll take this chance to make a substitution. Pessimino looks in some discomfort, and should Samoa progress, well, they can ill afford to lose the quality of Mekele Pessimino, and it's a frustrated South African coach, Paul True. big men wherever you look in this Samoan squad. That's Ofisa Treverenis, the Mali Sharks flanker. The worry, the concern is over the well-being of Michele Pessamino, prolific try scorer in sevens. Very quick, very dangerous. Voted man of the tournament at Adelaide and at Hong Kong. We know that he has a weakness in his knee. I'm just wondering whether that is the problem yet again. But he's made those sterner stuff is Michele Pessamino. Discretion on this occasion was the better part of Vala, and Samoa will need him again for the semis and the final should it come to that. But it's not looking good at the moment for Michele Pessamino, and that is a worry. Samoa claim the line out through Simeke Michele. Ualemai nudged forward by Rainer Benjamin. Advantage is over, says JP Doyle. Out on this side, Alatasi Tupau wanting the kick crossfield in very quickly to release the ball was Renfred Dazel, but again it's a penalty to Samoa. And South Africa just can't get their hands on the ball at the moment. Walemai might go himself to the try line, and that probably is the try which takes Samoa through to the Cup quarterfinals. Scored by Walemai. Sam's most capped player was on his way to the UK beginning of the season, but because of difficulties with documentation, he decided to stay on the islands and again to help the cause of the Samoan Sevens squad. And what a vital contribution he's made during the season, and a crucial try, a third try for Samoa, the first of their second half, and a try which probably takes them to the Cup semi-finals rather. Delighted Walemai, former Sevens Player of the Year, I think it was back in 2006. (19-0) then. That is Samoa's lead with just over 2 minutes remaining. Samoa have controlled this Cup quarter-final, and all credit to them for that. Hoffman Maritz takes it in. Finally, long last, if only momentarily, South Africa get their hands on the ball. Africa out to Dazel, to Juries. Loves to run with the ball in hand and doesn't give up on the prospects of playing offshore, as they say in the Southern Hemisphere. Wouldn't mind a stint with a club in the Northern Hemisphere. Still got pace as Fabian Juries at, what is he, 31 years of age? There he is. Scored some lovely tries in London last weekend, and 1 or 2 here in Murrayfield also, over the last 24 hours or so. Africa, again, running into trouble. Yeah, what am I? We don't need to rush things. It's South Africa who are chasing the game. Samoa doing just what is required. They've scored 2 crucial tries in the first half, and that Walemai try has taken them 19 points clear. Just running down the clock. Samoa make a further substitution. It's Pale Tuilupe, the replacement. I can just see Michele Pessamino. He's walked around to this side of the field, and there doesn't seem to be any difficulty at the moment. So that's good news for Stephen Betham and the coach and the Samoan squad rather. Walemai palms it back. Lololui just pushes the ball downfield, and South Africa again have to track back there. That is Michele Pessamino.
You have to in South Africa, line out is forward.
As if it wasn't cold enough already, he says. You've got to put an ice pack on my neck. Well, at least if that is where the problem is, there's no problem with the knee. Rainer Benjamin down to Brazil. SouthAfrica again finds his path blocked, and the ball spits out on the Samoan side. Lola Louis with a drop goal off the post. Couldn't work out yet though for Samoa. Might get a second bite of the cherry here. Rainer Benjamin, he's got his Wandile stick on the outside. Big tackle coming in right on the hooter, and it's a job well done by Samoa. They didn't really have to break out in third gear. And Samoa are one step closer to their first ever IRB World Series Championship. They've defeated South Africa by 19 points to 0.